MMA or UFC type video in a while, so this will kind of address a few things that have gone on in the UFC community. Conor McGregor guilty in the civil case with the rape of that young girl, or the friend or whatever. It's still a rape or whatever. Yeah, he might not have been criminally found guilty, but civilly. The thing about this is the UFC has a history of perpetuating violence, against women. John Jones, Conor McGregor, the fucking the football player dude, Greg Hardy. I mean, they just don't really give a fuck about, like men being men. And I mean men being like leaders, not men being pigs. The girl had to go to the hospital to get a tampon removed because the way he forced himself on her. If it was consensual, I'm sure she would have taken it out. If you're going to engage in that act, I'm sure she knew she had her, period, obviously, because she had a tampon in and you're going to take it out. All of that, nobody really, it's just sad and unfortunate that the UFC is that type of event. You've seen Dana White slap the shit out of his wife, you know what I mean? Oh, she hit him first. It's a woman, you know what I mean? You're a man, you can't fucking slap or punch women and walk away from it and apologize and think it's something that, once you cross that line, I don't know, I wouldn't be able to forgive myself if I slapped or punched or, fucking beat up a girl. The other one was on the Rampage Jackson podcast with Kevin Holland, who, you got to realize a lot of these dudes are just wearing costumes. Chuck Liddell, his mohawk, it's a fucking costume, I'm not saying he's not a talented fighter, but after everything is and they're putting you in the ground, do you want to be a guy that's 60 years old wearing a fucking faux hawk? You know what I mean? A mohawk, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like, it's just, Kevin Holland is very immature, very insecure. He fits all the profile hallmarks of a serial killer. He's very narcissistic. And a lot of these dudes are just insecure. That's why you see dudes like, on steroids, ballooned up out of their minds with tattoos all over themselves, because it's saying I don't feel masculine and secure with myself, so I am going to, like War Machine, the fighter that brutally beat that girl and is serving a lifetime prison sentence. Kevin Holland arguing with Rampage over what a 35 or 45-70 is. I guess it's some kind of, I'm not a man either, because I don't know what the fuck that is. It's some kind of like assault rifle. And just the childishness and pettiness of a professional guy who's supposed to be a professional athlete. Well, we all know what that means. Just the silliness, and that's what the star fucking machine that I call it. The star fuckers. They know that there's women out there in Hollywood and men out there in Hollywood that will do anything to have a career because they felt insignificant in life, and that they're insecure and they're worried about, like they need to be recognized as great because they weren't recognized in childhood or whatever you want to, whatever. It was just so foolish and cringe. It was just so foolish and cringy to watch somebody fully engage in that behavior as an adult. And he's a parent. I said this over a year and a half ago about him on the Joe Rogan podcast. I said, this dude is a fucking goofball, talking about, he doesn't even know anything about basic nutrition. He's eating peanut butter crackers after practice. He wants to fuck off and smoke weed. And and like TJ Dillashaw said, you'll never be champion. Then you had Anthony Smith leaving the Believe You Me podcast, which is Michael Bisping's podcast, which started out horribly with this wannabe comedian, Luis Gomez, who is not a comedian. As his co-host, it was just cringy as fuck. But Anthony, he's had a couple things happen in his life. He had some post-traumatic stress, I'm sure, from a home invasion where he subdued a guy that broke into his house. He had his wife and his daughter and his family, or whatever that entails, home at the time. And nonetheless, I've had situations like that where people have broken in my house and I'm home, and it still affects me to this day. I'm not like scared of the one-on-one, aspect of things, but somebody coming in and bum rushing you and just being in your house. I've had my house robbed when I wasn't home, all in North Carolina. I had 3 masked men try to enter my house in like 2005. They obviously weren't prepared to deal with me. And, nobody got hurt, luckily. And, but it's still at nighttime when I hear noises outside or people talking or car doors slam, I'm ready to go from 0 to 60, and I'm ready, and I'm in bed, and I'm armed. I have a dog. I have things in place. And even if I didn't or did, I still get a little bit edgy. So he had that happen. But more importantly, one of his mentors and closest friends died in his camp after years of helping him, and he probably just tired of fucking, he's got a job as an analyst. His, fighting career is at the tail end. He's a fucking good dude. I think he's more of a family man than Michael Bisping is. Bisping has said some stuff to him and, just kind of like as a friend about being selfish and sacrificing as a fighter. And Anthony Smith is more of a family, more of a, oh, my little nerd, more of a family guy, and has different views on what it is. He grew up in the Midwest. He has, different values and stuff than somebody that, he's not Hollywood like Bisping is. So I just wanted to touch base on some of those things because they just kind of fucking creep me out. Bisping is part of the star fucking machine. He's Dana White's little lackey. He's going to do whatever. I'm not taking anything away from the dude. He's a tough ass dude. I respect him as a fighter. We just have some differences when it comes to integrity and leadership and, what they're willing to do for fame. Some people just, they get a taste of it, and it's not all it's cracked up to be. At the end of the day, when all of this shit is over and you're looking like Chuck Liddell on a coke bender for the last 20 years, and do you want to be holding on to like the past? Like, if you're really focused on being remembered and being a legend, you're not focusing on the present, You're not focusing on the future. There's no past. There's no future, rather, living in the past. There's no future in it. So why live there, Well, these people live there because they're thinking, like, narcissistically when they die, like, oh, I want to be remembered 100, 200 years ago. These are the types of dudes that, like, fucking think about how their funeral is going to be covered on ESPN. It's a very fucking sick way of looking at the world, building a legacy and stuff. It's cringy, A lot of these dudes, bodybuilders, they're fucking cringy, There's football players, just the ego. Your ego is your worst nightmare. Your ego is the source of all your problems. It says pride comes before the fall. Well, that is something that I look at all the time. When I rescued this dog, I would have fucked that dude up and blah, 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 blah. And I think about it sometimes when I'm in the shower. I get myself excited. I think about slapping the landlord's son. And I just go, that's because you're insecure, myself. That's because you're insecure. You're more of a man than he is. You don't have to go out and prove it. It's not going to prove anything. It's only going to help me. It's not going to be beneficial. You're not teaching anybody a lesson. And as somebody that has grown, you should know better than to engage in violence with people that, I don't understand, people that go around and, know they can beat people up and beat people up. It's like, well, I'm not that type of person. I'm not going to, fucking suck. There's things we were talking about fighting at work a couple days ago, and I said there's things that I've never done in a fight. I've never sucker punched anybody because I don't need to. I've never kicked anybody in the face when they're down on the ground and they're helpless. I've never used a weapon against anybody unless I've had to, be armed and there was a situation that arose beyond my control. I don't carry, a weapon around, I don't know. There's things that people do. These, like that Trendy Agua gang member, the dude's a little bitch, People that join gangs are little girls, like they really are. Nothing is more you need the camaraderie, and you're looking for a role model and father figure and stuff. Go to the gym, join a jiu-jitsu class, do something with your life, do something that has long-term benefits. There's no positive things that can come from any of this.